What's up, you guys? It's your boy Kel, and for today's draft, I had I had a little bit of a wacky, fun idea to do for today's teaming. And well, I won't say it's wacky. Well, it is wacky, but there is some actual precedents for the team I am going to draft today. So right now, I am currently reading the new 52 Red Lantern series, right? And while I know that I have done an Omniversal Red Lantern Corps recruitment season video within the past, where I had to give y'all information and everything, it's not to say that I didn't read the series. Well, one, I didn't read the series. But if I don't have particular information about something, I'll do research on it. But even then, even if I didn't do research on it, or if I don't do research on it, I know at least enough about what their dynamic and what their concept is from other things they have been a part of, whether they have appeared in things such as movies, TV shows, other type of comics or video games or whatever, right? And the Red Lanterns, they have been a part of a few different things. But that's neither here nor there. Because like I said, right now I am reading the Red Lantern series. And knowing that I have done all of the R.O.Y.G.B.I.V cores in an omniversal styling, I'm thinking that I might revisit the cores, but in a way where I will recruit DC canon members only for each core. So I can make, each core with members that I think will fit for them within DC Universe. Now, I may or may not do this in general, that's one. But then again, even if I do, I may or may not do this for all of the cores. I know I'm definitely not going to do it for Black because the Black Lantern Corps is just characters who have died, and almost everybody has died in comics. So screw that. I'm not going to do it for the Orange Corps because we already know, based off of the information I have given y'all within my Omniversal Orange Lantern Corps, the DC canon Orange Lantern Corps doesn't technically exist. It wouldn't feasibly work. And I may or may not do the Green Lanterns. If I do the Green Lantern Corps, it will be in a way where I take certain members of the Corps that already exist and position them into a ranking and a role type of perspective instead of actually recruiting members who will be a part of my Green Lantern Corps. Because honestly, if you think about it, when it comes to recruiting members for the Corps, seeing as how most of the DC Universe's comic book stories are featured on Earth, that will mean I will have to be pulling characters that are focused and centered or from the planet Earth. And there are already a ton of Earth-based Green Lanterns, which I know is a problem I particularly don't like. And I know it's a problem that a lot of fans have in general. So, like I said, if I do the Green Lantern Corps, it will be in a way where I, take certain Green Lantern Corps members and put them in a ranking and a positioning of the actual Green Lantern Corps for the planet Obo or whatever. Or it will be in a way where I find different members who can take care of different sectors. But seeing as how the different sectors are where most of the alien races are based, and the alien races are the ones who are usually a part of other sectors, I may not do it. And the other one I may or may not do is the White Lantern Corps. That one is iffy. And then, of course, I'm really, really, really thinking if I'm going to either touch on the Ultraviolet Lantern Corps and the Gold Lantern Corps and all. But that's neither here nor there. Because today, we are talking about the Red Lanter Corps. So, what I need you guys to do is I need you to think about one of the most angriest moments in your life, right? I need you to think about one of the most punishing events you have ever experienced in a place, in a time where you just wanted nothing but retribution or vengeance. And then I want you to channel that and imagine if it was coming from an animal. Because today we are going to be doing the Red Decor, but I am going to be making them a faction that is simply strictly based on animals within the DC universe. Now, like I said, this is going to be a wacky idea. But like I said, there is precedence for this idea because we all know within the world of comics and the world of fiction, there are often many characters that is animal based or that is an animal who is a psychic or otherwise, right? And within the DC universe, we see some of these animals within the different Lantern Corps. Like the Green Lanterns, I know for sure have a squirrel on their team, some type of wasp or mosquito type of insect. Even though they're humanoid, some will argue that Kilowog's race are pig or warthog-like. Tomorrow's race are fish-like people. And when it comes to the Red Lanterns, the series that I'm currently reading right now, you would know that there is a particular little cat on this team who has a lantern ring. And even if we weren't looking at the cores and their animals, like I said, throughout the DC universe, there are many type of animal-like figures or animals in general, whether it be animal sidekicks or whatever, that I feel like we could give a ring to, or we could integrate them into the Lantern lore. Because, I love pets. Everybody, who doesn't love an animal, right? Who doesn't love pets? Who doesn't love an animal? And when it comes to fictional animals, they are really helpful. They bring a lot of attention to viewers. They're really beloved and so much more, right? So why not do something with them? And when it comes to the characters that are animal-based or animal in nature, they're even more interesting in some cases because it's unique to see just how much of their animal side is affecting their humanity. How does it affect them socially or psychologically, philosophically, and stuff like that? So I figured, hey, why not do a team like this, right? And I feel like starting with the Red Lantern Corps is probably one of the best options I could go for because when I look at the different type of animals who are sidekicks and pets within the DC universe, or I look at the characters that are animal in nature, my mind goes mainly towards the ones who are animal in nature. And the first thing that popped up in my mind were that they will be good for 2 or 3 distinct lantern groups. And 2 of them out of the 3 are 2 of my favorites. And y'all know that one of my favorites, of course, are the Red Lanterns. So that is what we are going to do today. So today we are going to put together a 5-member team for a Red Lantern animal faction or animal-based faction. And of course, the first person I'm going to recruit on this team, who is going to be the leader of this team, the whole face of the operation is going to be Dexter. Now, I know, for those of you who may not be as familiar with who Dexter is or the Red Lantern Corps in general, y'all may be wondering, wait, Dexter? Yes, Dexter. Dexter is a cat. Now, I know after I have said that, that probably made you even more confused because you're probably now asking, a cat? Why would you make a cat the leader? Why would you make him the face of the operation? Can he even talk? Technically, no, he cannot talk. However, one of the abilities of the ring that he gets is that his cat like speech, the meowing and everything, can be universally translated to the point where he can understand others and others can understand him. And even taking that away from the equation, he is quite intelligent for a cat. He's not like a super cat or everything, but he is capable of rational thought. And even the rational thought, like I said, is a little bit enhanced because of the ring. But the reason I am really making him the leader is because, like I said, out of the 5 members that I am already going to be recruiting, he's the only one who is canonically a Red Lantern. Technically, when I say he's canonically a Red Lantern, yes, he's canonically a Red Lantern. He was the cat, the new owned pet of Atrocitus, who is the leader of the actual Red Lantern Corps within DC Comics. And the reason that Dexter is a Red Lantern, the reason he got a hold of a ring in the first place, is because Dexter has a really tragic backstory. One of those stories that you would hear about an animal or you would see take place in an animal's life, like those type of stories you hear about the animals, the SPCA, that makes you want to cry and just makes you realize exactly how cruel the people of the world are. Dexter has one of those stories. First, he watched his owner get murdered. And then after he watched his own owner get murdered, he was abused and abandoned. Like, I think he was beat up and then he was like forced to drown or something. It's really sad. But that's the reason we're going to put him on a team. Because, like I said, he's already canonically a Red Lantern. His story is that to the point where he would want vengeance, or he is full of rage and is seeking retribution. So our first member is going to be that of Dexter. So the second person, or should I say animal, or should I say individual, that we are going to be pulling in for this team is a character who goes by the name of Barbara Minerva, aka the Cheetah. And if you are a Wonder Woman fan or a DC Comics fan at all, you know that Cheetah is she's a cheetah. I was looking for a joke. I was looking for some type of entryway into that character, but no, she is a humanoid cheetah. You may want to call her a were-cheetah, but unlike the were people of myth and legends, she is not able to transform back into her human self. She is stuck within a cheetah mode. She is stuck within the formation of looking like a humanoid cheetah. And her powers come from a curse that was triggered by some type of ancient tribal cheetah goddess, I believe. There's been a few different cheetahs, but it's the most known and common one. and it's my favorite one. The reason we are going to make her a Red Lantern is because of the fact that she is a character who is filled with nothing but consuming and continuous rage. And while some people may say that rage is just her having a vendetta in vaccination or whatever against Wonder Woman, I would say that part of it is due to the fact that she was transformed against her will. Like, she didn't ask for the court curse like most people who are cursed aren't. But she didn't ask for the curse. And, with her being cursed against her will, it took away her sense of identity, her sense of morality, all of that. And once this primal cheetah goddess was instilled into her, she ended up being driven by envy and rage and a thirst for vengeance that varies every so often. And now with her being a cheetah, she has nothing but a predatory instinct that makes her naturally aggressive and lethal. So, like I said, seeing as how the Red Lanterns are probably the most violent, chaotic, and warrior-like type of core within the R.O.Y.G.B.I.V spectrum, I feel like it was more than appropriate to put Cheetah up here. One, because I've been wanting to use Cheetah somewhere. I just never knew exactly where to put her. Because I could be simple and put her on like a Legion of Doom or whatever, right? But the way I want to do my Legion of Doom in Justice League is a little different and a little bit more maniacal than people usually make them. And I didn't know where else to put her. It's like I could have put her on Suicide Squad, but she's not really a hero. Well, there's times where I'm pretty sure she's been on Suicide Squad, but yeah, I feel like the Suicide Squad is for people who work reasonably as villains who are trying to be redeemed or villains who are making a turn. And I don't see she does that. And I didn't know where else to put her. I could have put her on like an omniversal team that I would have made with other type of animal-like creatures. But I was like, hey, you know what? Let's just put her here. It fits the lore. It fits the dynamic. It's still DC and it's no type of overlaps or anything. Let's do this. And while I usually don't like to give characters rings who have powers, she doesn't really have powers outside of, her natural cheetah capabilities, strength, speed, agility, the claws and the fangs. So it would be interesting to see how she can use this as a extra gift given to her. And plus, once we're done with the video and I'm done telling you all of my characters, you will see why I wanted to do a animal based team even more when I tell you their roles and their duties and just exactly how thoughtful a team like this is and how effective it could be. But that's neither here or there. Because Cheetah is another character who, like I said, fits the Red Lantern core perfectly. And there are some people who would say that she could be on other cores. And yeah, like most DC Universe characters, they could fit a majority amount of the cores. Like, for instance, Cheetah, some may argue that she may belong to the core of Aris for her obsession with wanting to take down Wonder Woman or to prove how much of a apex predator she is. Some people may say that because of her being an apex predator, she belongs to the Sinestro Corps. And then there's some who may say that she can be on the Indigo Corps, being, the Corps where they are forced to receive or learn about compassion. But I think out of all the corps that we have in our archives, the Red Lantern Corps, which is the core of rage and vengeance and anger and violence, is the best core for her. So Barbara Nara, aka the Cheetah, is going to be the second member of our animal-based Red Lantern Corps team. Now, as far as the next member is concerned, our third recruit is going to be a meta-human villain man whose name is Spotling Pruitt. And Spotling Pruitt is a villain who goes by the name of Snakebite. And the best way to describe Snakebite is think of our last recruit, Barbara Minerva, aka the Cheetah, but instead of him having cheetah powers in the physiology that is feline like, just replace it with a snake. Just replace it with a snake. That's only what it is. Like how cheetah is a cheetah, snakebite is more of a snake. And another difference that him and cheetah have besides their animal linkage and the fact that they're, one's a boy and one's a girl, is that while Cheetah seems to have gotten her powers from a curse, Spotling received his mutation from experimentation. Now, my first introduction to Spotling was in the Deathstroke New 52 comic, Volume 3 Suicide Run. While he was on the Suicide Squad, he abducted Amanda Waller. I mean, which is fair. I mean, if we're talking about reasons to be a Red Lantern, I think that in itself is good enough of a reason. Anyone on the Suicide Squad may end up becoming a Red Lantern, and not because of the fact that, they were all villains or all violent, but simply due to the fact that, when you're in the Suicide Squad, you're in a position that just meant to fuck you over. Amanda Waller is a bitch. She doesn't keep her word, which is gonna make you want to get revenge. Then she puts a bomb in your neck, and then all this other type of shit that she does. So, like I said, I think anybody who is on the Suicide Squad is fair game to at least consider for a Red Lantern membership. But in the case of Spotling, he particularly had a vendetta against Amanda. And like I said, while Cheetah's rage and hatred comes from that of a curse, Spotling was experimented on against his will. I think he was lied to. Like Spotling has one of those not kamikaze, what is that old drug? The Tuskegee stories. Where, you're being told one thing or whatever, and next thing you know, you're just being killed off or being experimented on unfairly. Well, yes and no. Was he a willing volunteer and participant in the experiment? Yes. But was he lied to and did the experiment go horribly wrong? Again, yes. Because he was told that the experiment would treat severe psychosis, but again, instead, he ended up being not mutilated, but disfigured and mutated. So you can see how he'll be angry or vengeful because of that. One, you're probably going to end up turning that anger in onto yourself due to the fact that you was either being greedy because of the fact that he is a gambler. So he was probably taking the wrong chances and probably was thinking that he was dumb for ignoring the people's advice or for being such an addict when it came to gambling that he would take the risk where it was already, you know, dangerous and risky, or, more than likely he would just feel resentful or angry at himself for thinking to volunteer in the first place. But then again, you're definitely going to end up being angry and resentful towards the people who actually did it to you. One, because you are probably in the state of mind where you think they did it on purpose or they were lying. And even if they were lying, you would still want revenge. But if they weren't lying, in a time like that, you're just full of rage and anger and disgust and hatred for what has happened to you. And now you gotta live with the constant physical and psychological pain that comes with that. Plus, you're being discriminated against from the public. You're no longer able to fit into society. Your life is ruined. You lost your humanity, your own personal identity, and everything like that. So all of your anger is like now inwards until you want to release it on someone. And like I said, another reason I'm putting him up here is because while he was introduced in New 52, he definitely had a vendetta against Amanda Waller. So through those reasons, I think he'll make a good Lanter candidate. So we are going to put Snakebite on this team as well. Okay, so now that we have our first three members down, we can worry about the last two because, like I said, this is going to be a 5-member team. And our last two is going to be one pick, but they're 2-1, if that makes sense. Because they're technically a duo, and you technically never see them apart. And usually you would count them as one character, I guess, but they're two individuals, essentially. And those are the pet hyenas of Harley Quinn, Bud and Lou. Now, I have always thought of hyenas as either greedy characters or fearful characters. But then again, the only thing I've really known about hyenas came from the Lion King movies. And I guess because of the narrative and the story that was being told within the Lion King and, it being made to entertain kids, hyenas had to be seen in a particular way. But after doing some research, come to find out that hyenas, they are predatorial creatures. But when it comes to Bud and Lou specifically, I think they perfectly fit the dynamic for the Red Lantern Corps. And here's why I say that. When it comes to the Red Lantern Corps, we all know that the Red Lantern Corps is a corps that deals with the emotions of rage, hatred, pain, violence, and vengeance, right? And when you look at most of the Red Lanterns, that rage and that pain usually comes from things such as past trauma, um, lingering psychological damage, and intellectual anger that never really goes away, right? And when it comes to the characters of Bud and Lou, while they may now be seen as the pets of Harley, just like Harley before she was loved right and properly and, healed by the love of Poison Ivy, Bud and Lou were the pets or property, or better yet, victims of the Joker, just like Harley was, right? And while Harley may have, shown them love and affection and seen them as her babies and her pets, we all know that when it comes to Joker, just like he did with Harley, Joker treated Butterloo basically just like they were expendable. They were just there. And the way he treated them seemed to be so bad that you might as well just say that they were animal versions of Harley. Like the way he seen Butterloo was basically how everyone would say that he saw his relationship with Harley Quinn. Like he neglected to take care of them. He refused to feed them. Um, he basically forced them to hold people hostage and for them to be basically attack aids. He was purposely willing to lead them to die in a bomb exploding without any feel of remorse. He purposely injected them with rabies, in which they were forced to attack Harley, which in turn made her forcibly and regrettably have to kill them, which if even if you took the whole death thing away, giving them rabies, if I understand the way rabies work correctly, would drive them to the point of aggression within itself, and then they would make perfect Death Corps members because they were uh, killed unjustly, but it wasn't her fault, so they would go after her. So they would want vengeance because of that. So yeah, to say that they are creatures who are not only erratic and thrive in violence and chaos due to the fact that they are predatory animals, but also because of the fact that they have psychological trauma added to them, I think it's more than just. And, of course, seeing that they are hyenas, you can expect that the ring will work for them the same way it works for Dexter. So, yeah. So I think Bud and Lou will work here perfectly. And another thing that I want to say for everybody who may be thinking the same thing I was, which was, well, if they were eventually adopted by Harley Quinn, who ended up loving and caring for them and showing them affection and stuff, why aren't they a part of like the Love Corps or the Indigo Tribe? And it's because while they may have been taken in by Harley and shown love, that doesn't mean that the trauma goes away, right? It doesn't mean that the violence is gone. It doesn't mean that their chaos is gone or anything like that. It just means that they're in a better position now. But it doesn't stop the ongoing abuse that they are forced to do because of the rabies or because of them not having any sense of stability. It doesn't undo anything they went through. But, that's just what I wanted to say to clear it up because I really did think about that while I was uh, making my video. Because, like I said, while I am interested in the course, I'm still learning a lot about them, seeing as how I'm not really a space or what's the word, cosmology person when it comes to comics, and I'm just now getting into the lanterns within the last year or so. So yeah. But now that I think about it, would Harley make a good Red Lantern? I mean, I know I joked earlier about how anybody on the Suicide Squad would make a good Red Lantern due to the fact that they are feeling vengeful because of the whole situation they are in with Amanda. But seriously, like, would Harley really make a good Red Lantern? I mean, I think Harley would make a few of the good Lantern options because you got to think about it. Harley may have been a villain, but she wasn't really a villain. She was in a forced predicament. But even then, she didn't process the abuse and everything like most of reality would, or like Bud and Lou did. Her madness ended up driving her like into a wacky, compy type of character. I would say that I think she would make a good Green Lantern. She's very willing. She's full of will. Think she would make a good Indigo Tribe member too. But would she really make a good Red Lantern member? Because even though I don't particularly see her as a villain and never really have, it is canonic that you don't have to be a villain to be a Red Lantern member. There have been heroes like Supergirl and Guy Gardner who have been Red Lanterns. Mara has been a Red Lantern. I think Hal has been a Lantern pretty much every single quarter there is. So we're not going to talk about Hal. But even when I did my Omniversal Lantern Corps, I recruited heroes, or at least anti-heroes. But let that be one of the engagement questions that you guys answer today. Would you think that Harley would make a good Red Lantern member? Because even outside the Joker, it's been canonically stated that she has trauma from her days in school and her family and everything. I don't know. But let that be one of the engagement questions that you guys answer when it comes to this video. Do you think Harley would make a good Red Lantern? Or what other form of the lanterns do you think will work best for her? But that's neither here nor there. Because we have finally recruited all 5 members of our animal-like or animal-based Red Lantern Corps. And those members are Dexter, Cheetah, Snakebite, and Bud and Lou. Now, I know earlier when I said I was going to explain it a little bit deeper into why this team could be so effective. Honestly, like any normal, rational, logical person could figure it out. One, Dexter. If you use Dexter, just imagine a house cat who is sneaky. That's tactical because you have a house cat that is causing damage and attacking you and everything, causing all of this violence. Just take the 3 main pets of the Corps, right? Animals could be a way or one of the main ways in how a Red Lantern leader or a Red Lantern plot for domination over the earth, like Atrocitus is trying to do within a plot of the New 52 series, actually works well because no one will expect you to dominate through animals. No one will expect that, right? Especially if these animals are your pets. But think about how violent certain pets are, or just think about how reactive we are as humans, right? Everything causes us pain. We're emotional creatures. We don't process things like advanced species do. Our first reaction is to go to an emotion. And when it comes to a animal, Imagine if that animal attacked us or whatever, right? If a dog bit me, we now hate dogs, right? Or if you was attacked by like a snake or whatever and was poisoned, you would hate snakes. You would be mad or whatever, right? So yeah, I think that would be the best way for a red lantern team or even a yellow lantern team to take over a civilization like those of Earth. And just think about how people like Minerva and Pruitt can fit into this. They, as villains, if you just go around causing damage and havoc, you already got people who are hateful of you or who you can cause harm and do wrong to the point where they will want revenge, which just means that you're allowing more access to the emotional core in which people will be able to be recruited. So yeah, I think this will work. I think that works really well in that type of manner. And even if not, it's not like any of my members overlap in reasoning of why they are a Red Lantern. Dexter is a Red Lantern basically because of grief. Cheetah is a Red Lantern basically because of her primal nature and of some would say betrayal, some would say vengeance or self harm or whatever. Snakebite isn't it because of his resentment towards the people who did it to him and his loss of himself. And Butterloo are chosen because of their abuse through their madness. And that works well. Actually, all of this works well because canonically, the Red Lanterns usually are known to be mad. They're usually known to be driven insane or to at least not have full mental awareness or processing methods of their brain. So yeah, I think that works well. And basically their mission statement will pretty much be to punish those who caged them, broke them, or discarded them as living beings. And their outer world impact, like I said, when it comes to the Red Lantern Corps, Atrocitus is known to try to seek justice out by punishing those who go unpunished without the world. He chooses crimes for those who have not been punished correctly. Well, when it comes to this one, we can say that the team is going to liberate exploited animals or experimented subjects, destroy the institutions that profit from their suffering, or serve as a living warning to abusers and tyrants. You know, whatever that may be, it's still lore accurate, it's still emotionally pure, it's thematically unifying, and all of that. And I think we did pretty good. Another way this works is that you're basically getting fear, but instead of doing fear through intimidation, you're getting fear through brutality, which leads me into the second question I'm going to ask you guys for an intimidation method. I am not sure if there is a story yet where the Red Lanterns and the Yellow Lanterns have fought. If there is, I haven't gotten to it yet. I know within the Elseworld stories, there's probably something like that, like within Injustice 2. But I would like to see a way in which Sinestro's team and Atrocitus' team go up against each other. Which is more powerful, fear or rage? I want to see that. What do you guys think? Y'all let me know. And I think what we're going to call this team, if this team was to have like a name, Of course, they're the Red Lynchcorns, but maybe if we were to give it like an actual name, they should be called like the Paws of Fury or something, or the Primal Lanterns or something like that. I don't know. That would be the third engagement question. If these, if this team was to have a name, what should that name be? And while I was making this video, I really did stop to think because I was like, why am I doing this? Like, why? Because if I plan on reconstructing the Red Lantern Corps in my own image using characters I won't, why not just finish reading the story or making a Red Lantern team even without finishing up the series and choose my members and then take some of the members that I used here and put them up there, like Snakebite and Cheetah, and I will ignore Bud and Lou and Dexter. But then again, I was already in the middle of the video, so why not keep going? I can still do it. The only reason I thought about stopping is because y'all know me. I don't like to make redundant teams. And that would have been redundant, making a team that's basically within a team or whatever. But if I understand what happens in the Red Lantern series correctly, there end up being offset groups of the Red Lanterns anyway. And even if there weren't, like I said, I've been wanting to do animal-based teams, not specifically linked to the Lanterns, but I've been wanting to use animal sidekicks and the animal characters within the world of fiction to make teams to show my love for certain animals and certain animal characters. I just didn't know how. So, in a way where it's redundant, it's not. Because at least it will get at least one of those animal based videos out within the world. And maybe I should have started with like an omniversal or a mixed lantern core that was animal based. But like I said, I was going to do some type of animal team eventually anyway. I just didn't know how, or I was trying to figure out the characters I will put up there. So at least in one way or another, I got some animals out there. But yeah, you guys let me know how you feel about this idea. Like I said, it seems that I found this to be a little redundant. Seems that I was going to redo the Red Lanterns in itself. Seems that I'm thinking about redoing maybe the other Lantern Corps. I probably am not going to be doing another animal distinct team unless y'all ask for it. So y'all let me know in the comments if y'all want it. But most likely, if I use animals again, it will be in an omniversal way that will be linked to the Lantern Corps if I do a Lantern Corps animal team, or I would just merge those animals in with natural reconstructing of the Lantern Corps in itself. But yeah, you guys, let me know how you feel about my 5-member animal-based Lanter Corps. Don't forget to answer the engagement questions. How do you feel about the characters I used today? Are they some of your favorite characters? Do you not like any of these characters? Have you ever heard of any of these characters? How do you feel about Battleoo? How do you feel about Dexter? How do you feel about Cheetah? And how do you feel about Snakebite? Like I said, I've only seen Snakebite within that run, but I would love to see him again. When it comes to Cheetah, Cheetah's one of my favorite villains when it comes to the DC universe. But in Lou, like I said, I never really knew that much about hyenas, but it seems that I love the Joker and I love Harley Quinn. I would love to see Better Lou more. And you know, when it comes to animals, you always end up feeling more towards the animals than you do about the actual people involved with them. So yeah, my heart is broken a little bit for Better Lou. And when it comes to Dexter, normally I am not a cat fan. I am not a cat fan. Never been a big cat fan. Have always hated cat. Always have preferred dogs. But the story with Dexter is low-key sad as hell. And it made me want to cry. So, yeah. But yeah, you guys, let me know what you think about all of this. And you guys know what it is. I'm going to catch you guys later. Deuces.